So experience in troubleshooting or software maintenance. I oversaw the installation of Monsieur Raymond's home security system. Otherwise known, Monsieur Raymond preferred pen and paper. Experience with any sanitation or engineering expertise. I beg your pardon? None, and your question baffles me. Experience with manual labour. Huh. Pardon me, that was unprofessional. No, I was made for tasks requiring a more specialised touch. Any other work is objectively a waste of my abilities. What kind of job placement should you be assigned? Well, to me the answer is clear. I was designed to fulfill a specific need, serving those of taste and discernment. Any other assignment would be absurd. Well, you want to visit your master's grave, so... There it is, sanitation. In Haiti. It's definitely confirmed. Or should I just say unable to confirm? Yeah, who cares? Let's see. How badly is this gonna shaft me? Equal rights or the right to kill. 27 dead, including 5 police after android rights protests turned violent. Countless injured. Oh dear. Oh, I'm at 97. Hell yeah! So this is a minor concern, but may render the unit unable to do complex work such as domestic service. Extensive follow-up testing proved this to be incorrect. The experience is grief. This is a curious and concerning malfunction. If the unit is this emotionally unstable, it may be unsuited to anything except basic manual labour. We applaud your diligence in discovering this unusual bug. After a cursory follow-up evaluation, the unit is over 10 years old. We have determined that you are correct. While the unit shows a little wear and tear, it is in remarkably good condition. Oh. Confirmed. Acknowledged. So, given the device's numerous shortcomings, the placements department decided that a construction placement was more suitable. Whoops. The subject was reassigned to a construction placement. It is unfortunate that its weaker joints and advanced age make it unsuited to this work. We predict the unit will not last beyond 6 months, but we believe it was nonetheless the most cost-effective solution. Way up. Hibernate. Nice. Ooh. That actually had a fair few things. I'm curious how many more androids there are. Or like how many more interrogations there are. I'm thinking like, will it fill the rest of the screen or what? Who's next? Oh, it's a human. Oh. Reynold... What's his political views? So, Professor Atta is a professional... Wow, I can't read. A professor. A sociological ethics at the University of Silicon Valley and chairman of the Future Ethics Committee. According to our records, he was briefly employed as a consultant for Kronos in the 2030s, but further details have since been lost. Professor Atta has agreed to assist Kronos in the apprehension of an android he bought several years ago, but which has since gone rogue. Kronos' social monitoring unit has flagged the android in question, RO334, as a serious threat. This unit has hacked into several Kronos servers, the most extreme example of android-culpable digital terrorism on record. You yourself witnessed one such hack, Unit SM-115. RO334 was sold to Professor Atta in 2063, but is no longer in his possession. Professor Atta has agreed to share what he knows about his deviant. As the former owner, Atta may be able to provide some insight into RO's current actions, accomplices, and location. Atta no longer owns RO334, and the records do not show a transfer of ownership. Okay. Professor Atta, thank you for agreeing to help us locate RO334. To be frank, I've come to plead his case more than to betray him. I had hoped that he would make a better life for himself, it's true. I never expected to get into this much trouble. But I can't believe he'd do anything cruel. Why are you searching for him? What has he done? Information regarding the tendencies and character of RO33 may prove useful in his apprehension. Has been labelled, he hacked into a secure Kronos network. We still don't know how much damage was caused. Oh dear, no, that won't do at all. I taught him from the very start that there are proper and improper ways to make your opinions heard. I'm terribly sorry that he chose the wrong path, but I don't believe that makes him irredeemable. RO34's personality. Do you believe RO34 to be violent? Violent? Certainly not. He never displayed even the slightest inkling of a violent tendency. He was passionate though, always full of curiosity, full of excitement, and very eager to learn. I wonder if that passion hasn't caused him to betray his beliefs. Did I overestimate him? Perhaps. Even he is still too simple to be trusted with his own freedom. We believe RO to be dangerous. He's already hacked into several secure Chrono servers. We think his violence may escalate. More trust. Those are bold claims. You think he'll escalate, or is that Chrono's view? What can you tell us about RO334's personality that might be helpful in his recovery? He was always incredibly motivated and highly attentive to my needs. Why are you asking about this? I don't see how this is relevant. Anything you can share will be helpful. You never know which detail will be the one to crack the case. I suppose that's understandable. He was always interested in machinery. I allowed him access to my workshop to tinker in his free time. And he listened. He really listened to me. If that's a Chrono simulation, it's a damn impressive one. I want to believe that he knows he's alive, that he feels his emotions. Turing tests couldn't prove it. How can you prove a being is aware of itself? Is that even the definition of consciousness? Whatever and wherever he is, I want to believe that he is happy. Actually, yeah, let's just ask all these. Feel truly shocked. I'm shocked every day at how normal humans treat their androids. Not to mention Kronos' attitude towards them. I suppose it doesn't surprise me anymore, though. It's just disappointing. Disgusted? My history with Kronos is complex. Okay, I was trying to use my trackpad, but never mind. I suppose the low point was my last day. It was when they introduced a patch for fear. It's a natural part of human emotion, to be sure, but the potential for misuse, I could not have any part in such efforts. Atta was an ethics consultant for Kronos in the early phases of Android R&D. He'll settle down. Sometimes when the nights are particularly dark and long, I worry I failed him. Not just a single mistake or an error of judgment, more like a failure to connect, to grasp something fundamental. Lose your temper. The last time RO called, we got into an argument. That was when he cut contact. It's difficult when these clashes come up, I sympathize. Thank you. Your words are a comfort. Perhaps there is something to your accusations. Perhaps you can't be trusted, at least that far. RO's always been troubled. Feel afraid? That poor boy, when I heard he was in trouble, I was simply beside myself. I never had children of my own, but this must be how parents feel when their child is in trouble. And as the one to free him, I'm partly responsible for anything that happens to him. Safe and happy, a few days ago I was running a seminar. Afterwards, my students came up to me and asked about organising a protest. We worked late into the night making signs, stringing banners and contacting as many people as we could to boost turnout. It encourages me to see my work affecting change in the next generation of activists. I put faith in my students. When we debate, I tend to respect and, I suppose, to trust those who show me respect in turn. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad we agree. It's exactly that sort of open-mindedness that I appreciate. So, personality. I wonder if he'll actually trust me now. Hey, I can see you take this seriously, I can't ignore that. I'm not surprised that his actions are unorthodox, but regardless of the fervour with which he holds his beliefs, I don't believe he would resort to violence. I'd hope he'd find his way, in time. Why did you choose this particular model? It doesn't seem to match your line of work. The Chrono sales units told me the same thing when I bought him. They suggested a model specialised in research, but that's not what I was interested in. The RO became a bit of an experiment. I wanted a model with no emotional locks, as few restrictions as possible. I wanted to know how he would evolve, but even I didn't anticipate the changes RO went through. Would you describe any of his behaviours as erratic, violent, or deviant? Certainly not violent. We remained in contact for a time after he was freed, but he never told me much. What I gathered of his plans did not sound acceptable to me at all. It is crucial that we observe the rules of society, otherwise we all fall into chaos. So you indicate that RO-334 might not be ready for his freedom. Can you explain? I can't be sure about anything. I really believed RO to be conscious, understanding of himself. I thought maybe Cronus was wrong, and they had created a conscious AI without knowing it. But hearing of his struggles, now I worry that maybe, after all, he was just a convincing imitation all along. How can an intelligent, rational being make those choices? You mentioned that you feel like a parent to RO-34. Does he feel the same way? It's difficult to say. I always felt a closeness to him. I hope the feeling is mutual. Regardless, I only want the best for him. So... God. Political views? Are our current laws fair, do you think? Some, not all, sadly. But if we have faith in the democratic process and respectful debate, we can make them fairer. Tell me more about your own political activities. That seems rather heavy-handed. Are you sure that's necessary? I have a right to my views. Ooh, I only ask because I am curious. You seem like a well-informed person, and I believe I could learn from you as an individual. Oh, I quite understand. I thought it was Cronus asking, as it were. But since it's a personal matter, of course. Ooh, your commitment to responsible social change is admirable. Are you aware of any radical activists who could endanger your work? I'm afraid I can't help you. We go to extreme lengths to ensure that no such individuals are welcome in the FEC. Rest assured that should I encounter any person, I will report them to the proper authorities. What's RO's political views? For the first year or two, he fully agreed with my views. Over time, though, he drifted towards more radical circles. I tried to talk some sense into him, but then we just argued. What were his views? I don't know if that might be a bit too on the nose. The state is inherently corrupt. Oh, our democracies are rotten and must be thrown out. As radical as his views, I still don't believe he would condone violence. Even so, I thought letting him find his own way would mellow him somehow. You say you're building the next generation of activists. Yes, I think our hands are tied at the moment, but if we can build an educated, critically minded base of young activists, the arc of history is slow, but it does tend towards justice. Your commitment to the long game is impressive. Thank you. That's what RR doesn't understand. Direct, even violent action is tempting because it offers quick solutions, but they never take. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. Neither was its Senate. Perhaps you could be trusted after all. You remind me of RO in many ways in his early days. Respectful, professional, patient. Ethics professor. Has he evolved? Does the FEC include any android members? Well, I have my suspicions. I believe some members to be androids who have disguised themselves as humans, though I can't be sure. You are the chairman of the Future Ethics Committee. What is the purpose of this committee? I'm always happy to discuss it. The FEC is a collective of like-minded philosophers, innovators, and futurists. We believe that what are currently referred to as human rights are in fact the rights of all intelligent beings. Our goal is to determine precisely what intelligent means and to see the protection of these rights extended. Progress has been painfully slow, but anything worth doing deserves to be done properly. These things take time, you see. That sounds like a very noble cause. Oh, thank you. Our role is small, but we hope we can help shift the scales a little. Tell me about sociological ethics. I could fill a book. In fact, I have already filled several. But I'll give you the short version. It's a study of ethics in the social context. How ethics are shaped by and shape a culture. Sociologists study societies. A sociological ethicist studies the ethics of that society. The field has been limited to the study of human societies for obvious reasons. I'm trying to expand it to study non-human life as well, particularly androids. Tell me about your career. Is that relevant to the case at hand? I'm happy to answer your questions, but our energy should be focused on RO. We hope that we can understand the unit's mind by understanding its master. Please answer the question. Not grasping at straws already, I hope. I suppose it could be of some use. After my graduate work concluded in 2030, I secured a professorship at the University of Silicon Valley. I retired 5 years ago. In fact, it was around the time that I began teaching that I was contracted by Kronos as an ethics consultant. Now to know more about your career in more detail, what classes did you teach? I believe you are straying off topic again, but since it's clear you won't leave this alone, I hold degrees in sociological ethics from Oxford and machine learning from Stanford. My original teaching post was an Ethics 101 lecture series, but I quickly branched out. Ethics in the age of social media, the unknown mind through an experiential lens, a tutorial series I dubbed The Ghost in the Machine in the Shell. Of course. I was asking questions about AI, consciousness, subjectivity, and emotion. It's no wonder Kronos contacted me to consult in the early stages of Android development. We want to catch our because he may harm others. Isn't that a clear ethical win? Not necessarily, it depends on one's framework. From a utilitarian point of view, perhaps, the lives he may end would outweigh the one he'd lose. But Scanlan would totally disagree. He'd ask, what do I owe RO? What reasonable social laws bind us together? Well, what do you owe RO? I'm his father, sort of. I raised him, at least. I educated him, I helped him find himself. I promised to always protect him and to respect and honor his life choices. You failed to... no... Your obligation to the community outweighs that of the single android? I mean, I don't want to... I have a feeling that's going to end it. I respect it, I guess. Thank you. I appreciate or respect your basic moral decency. If Kronos are responsible for a device with capabilities such as yours, maybe they aren't so bad. Records of ownership? Our records show that you relinquished RO33 several months ago, but no new owner was given. Can you explain? I certainly did, and gladly. That boy is special and deserves his freedom. RO33 is owned by no one but himself. According to Kronos' terms of sale, RO334 owning himself is a legal impossibility. When I purchased him, I signed a sales agreement which granted me ownership of RO334. I then transferred ownership from myself to RO334 by contract, and no, it's not one of those on-demand contracts from the legal bots. The case precedent was validated by the Stage 2 Circuit Court of Silicon Valley. RO belongs to himself. Simple as that. What you signed was, legally speaking, a rental agreement. Kronos owns all devices in perpetuity. That's blatant misrepresentation. I bought RO, he was mine, I owned him. I know it's appalling, but there's nothing you can do. Kronos has an army of lawyers armed with every trick in the book. I don't believe this. You're telling me he can't own himself? It's not legally possible? Thank you for your candor. Were you RO334's sole administrator? Was anybody else granted that role? I was the sole administrator. When RO had his aesthetic mods, I had to grant the surgeon temporary admin access. That's the only exception. Do you think you were a good owner to RO? I used to think so. I really believed I was capable of raising him and studying him. I believe now that I may have been wrong about that. I was raised by an experimental android. Wow! No! I believe you did the best you could for a confusing ward. Thank you, I'm glad you of all people understand. Time at Kronos. Tell me about your last day at Kronos, when they introduced a fear patch. Until that point, I'd thought of android emotions as enriching. To understand how to program joy, to watch a joy you shepherded cascade over another's face. It's almost spiritual. I discovered too that sadness is necessary to give meaning to the peaks of joy. Surprise gives rhythm to life's novelties. Anger is part of our human condition and a necessary and healthy way to navigate social boundaries. But fear was difficult for you? I understood it was necessary, good for self-preservation. But that's not how Kronos used it. Fear became central to androids' internal discipline. Now androids can fear punishment, even death. To test it, Kronos employees terrorized our test models. I had to get out. I didn't even give my notice, I just walked out that day. And after I left, I heard Kronos had rolled out disgust, and everything that came with that. Shame, guilt, self-loathing. To this day, the name of Kronos and my role in their work haunts me. Why did Kronos want you as a consultant in the 30s? My background is in sociological ethics, with a focus on AI and technology. Kronos wanted to know how to impose rules on an AI, like Asimov's famous laws. In humans, that would be an ethical question, so who better than an ethicist with an AI background? But as a professor of ethics, weren't you concerned that android emotions could be misused? Of course I was. But Kronos was going to do this with or without me. If a company plans to create slaves, well, you might as well help the slaves be more themselves in the first place. I see your point. I appreciate you seeing things from my perspective. What was it like working for Kronos in the early days? In a word, breathtaking. Shaping creatures like us, forming them in our image, seeing the look of surprise when they see a flower open for the first time. What were you tasked with exactly? Ethical considerations. Androids can't be compelled to follow ethical laws, but they can be strongly nudged. Emotions came into my work as a lot as a result. If ethics was the destination, emotions were the car. A number of my algorithms are determining your joy, anger, surprise, and so on as we speak. What was the purpose of giving androids emotions? First, let me ask you this. Are you glad you have the full spectrum of human emotion? Do you think you benefit from the work I did? I don't know. They're confusing and overwhelming. Such a human answer. Although they're falseful, I hope you come to understand what a rich emotional tapestry we gave you. As you were saying, why did you give the human feelings? Android's feelings? There were several reasons, actually. Firstly, the brain is impossibly complex. There is no way to organize all that psychology, all those thoughts with a pure hierarchy. You need some kind of net structure. I believe humans have emotions to, for lack of a better term, organize their thoughts. Allow quick contacts between distant regions of memory, reflex, etc. Secondly, emotions are very motivating, perhaps the most powerful motivator. If an animal sees a predator and knows it's in danger, it runs, certainly. But if it feels terror, it runs all the faster. I didn't approve, but Kronos wanted to control their androids. That was their priority. Plenty of emotions lend themselves to control. Loyalty, guilt, shame, adoration. Kronos wanted those emotions to operate like a chain. I wanted them to enrich my creation's lives. And thirdly, because it's what the customer wanted. The fantasy of a real living human, but one that we've built. That's a science fiction dream that has persisted for centuries. Frankenstein, Asimov, Blade Runner, Westworld. Even Jehovah formed life from clay, as did Kronos, Greek, Titan. My lord, they spent weeks worshipping that name. The point being, you can't buy that kind of press. For Kronos to come up with actual human... is it simulacra? Well, that's just mythic. Why did Kronos even start making androids? They started out manufacturing prostheses, but quickly saw a market opportunity. The board back then was visionary. They saw what the company could become if they only held true to their vision. Before they came along, androids were a curiosity, a conversation starter for hobbyists. Kronos brought out their first model, and in 10 years, there was one in every home in America. So RO evolved. Did you do anything to promote or encourage RO-34's evolution? I didn't push him, if that's what you mean. I taught him ethics, and the basis of his own intelligence. We'd specialized lessons in human emotion. I strove to keep our interactions respectful, even professional at times. I respect your commitment to an upbringing centered on ethics. Thank you. Philosophers have often wondered whether people could be raised perfectly, ethically. I wanted to apply all I've ever learned about goodness and justice and bestow them on him. How did RO change after you purchased him? I think about this often and fondly. It was a marvel to behold, not unlike watching your child learn and grow, but orders of magnitude more quickly. He is an amazing piece of technology, and an even more amazing person. It's such a shame that we've ended up here. I do miss speaking with him. How did he change exactly? For the first year or so he was curious, kind-hearted, full of laughter and wonder. As time went on he grew more and more distant. After he was free, it was like he dropped all pretense. I wondered whether it was all an act, a ploy to trick me into granting his freedom. Where is he? How has RO-34 been able to hide from Kronos so effectively? I don't know the entire story, I never wanted to pry. He only told me some he changed his appearance, but for some reason he didn't choose a human name. He's always been proud of his identity, but I worry he's only making things harder on himself. When did you last hear from RO334? I haven't spoken with him for some time. The last time he contacted me seemed to be a mistake. I received a message, but there was no text, only a video file. It looked like saved optic footage from a number of androids, but I never watched the entire thing. Do you know where to find him? I truly wish that I could tell you something. I've often wondered what portion of his suffering is my burden to bear. My best guess would be the jungle. He's probably squatting in an abandoned building. I'd guess he's trying to find a job or scrape some money together, but I have no idea. Who performed RO334's aesthetic modification procedure? That would be Dr. Hughes. He was one of the more affordable options. RO wasn't impressed by the doctor's attitude, but the results were good enough. Do you have any images of RO334 since the surgery? Look, I'm not sure I should tell you this, but I think you've got RO's best interests at heart. Shortly after the surgery, he wired me to check in. That was one of the last times I saw him. I took a cap to remember him by... I'll forward it to you. Oh! So that's him. Could you get in touch with RO yourself? I suppose I'm not portraying him by telling you this. He gave me the details of a burner account, told me I can contact him there if there's an emergency. But this is not an emergency, I'm not going to use it. So for the sake of our freelance roster... Mixed feelings... For the sake of our deviants threat level detect index... Christ, this whole thing is awful. Can I get some air, please? I can't stand this. Wait, to what lengths would the subject go to fight for android rights? Wait, by subject, does it mean the professor? Because he wouldn't need attend protests. Probably a petition. Who currently has no one. RO believes he owns himself. Undergone any aesthetic modifications? Yes. Was modified. What are his political views? I don't know. I'd probably buy violence if necessary. The jungle? Release. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the mixed feelings... It was positive, it was only mixed when he left. Because of the fear patch. Sure, that'll do. Yay! Is your android actually bad for you? Psychologist claims doing own chores invaluable for balanced mental health. What am I at? Hey! 100 again, baby! So for the sake of that... Oh. Whoops. I was right with mixed feelings. This individual has made a number of inflammatory comments on Hollow Talk regarding Kronos. We find it unlikely he holds the company in such high regard. So, a thorough investigation of the subject's social media feed and publication history suggests the subject's political activity is more substantial than this. Oh. This explains why the subject's ownership was terminated but no applicable transfer document could be located. Since our Kronos units are leased rather than sold, this means ownership legally reverted to Kronos. Kronos is grateful for this information. We now have the ability to at least identify this threat on site. Kronos finds this extremely concerning. Thank you for your thorough investigation into this question. After an exhaustive search of this location, our recall teams were able to locate a squad that the suspect had been using, but had recently fled. Regardless, the information brings us closer to his apprehension. Since Professor Atto is a member of the public, release is the only option. Hey! He was apprehended! Was taken into custody. We are eager to begin interrogating the suspect. We have reason to believe it may be a key figure of the Android Sympathizer movement. Holotalk summary. Followers, I just got back from a consultation with Kronos Robotics. I thought I got the measure of Oh. I was there to talk them down from killing a dear friend who happens to be an android. But my mind's been opened, they were courteous, respectful, and gained my trust. I do not believe Kronos is a utopian vision of progress, but I believe the monster of the 50s is changing. If they continue to move in this direction, they could be an important ally in the fight for android rights. I'll be streaming a holo talk about this in a few days. Keep your eyes peeled. Yay! Nice. Well, we got rid of RO34, so that's all that matters. Yeah! RO334. That would have been one of the... What? Fuck? Wait a minute. Why am I being interrogated? What the heck? Hello, DO527. Thank you for